it's muting the music. Forgetting to open the volume mixer. Everybody say, hey!
Hey!
There we go.
Hey.
Hey, Chip fell for it this time. I didn't. I held strong.
Everyone is so proud of you, Johnny. Alrighty, ho.
I'm easily manipulated, alright?
Okay, so I think the rest of this night, there's only 2 more things I want to see. If anyone has anything else they want to put in. But we'll start with... So Barker leans over next to Stein and goes, so, you spend a lot of time with Lux.
What of it?
Kind of like pauses a moment and goes, you're not good enough for her.
Wait, who's saying this? I need to.
Barker, that guy who, like, you threatened out of your cab.
Oh yeah, who I called a coward. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't resist laughing at him and say, who the fuck are you to say that?
Yeah. I think at this point you literally see his fist tighten. It's like, look, a creepy little grease monkey like you is good enough for a girl like her. Back off, right? And I think it's kind of all he really wants to say. But he's just telling you to leave, to give Lux some space, I suppose. But you can see he's angry at you, and this is whatever was like causing him to give you the glares earlier when you when Lux was like pushing him out of the cab of the skid mark.
Well, Barker, if you've got something that you want to tell Lux, you go tell her. You know, I ain't gonna stop you.
So maybe I will.
You do that. Maybe your fucking period will stink up.
Shit, son.
He gives you a look of like utter death. I think if this was a Telltale game, you get the thing of Barker will remember that. Yeah, he like. I think maybe like one of the welders is next to you, just kind of snorts into his drink, and he blushes like bright fucking red and like storms out the bar, and Dremmer like kind of like goes, "Bye, boss," and just runs out after him. Yeah. Okay, so I think Lux gets back. Do you guys have anything you particularly want to say, or does the party just kind of wind down and you guys eventually drift back to bed at like 5 a.m.?
Winding down.
Okay. So then I have a question for you, like, how do you guys, where do you live? Like, how does it look? Like, do you just have a little apartment above your workspace? Let's start with Stein. Do you, like, have a little apartment above your garage?
Yeah, definitely. Like,
Do you live on, like, the main residential floor, or, like, one down, like, the machinery section? Is there, like, your space on there?
It's more like a cleared out machinery section. I get fully involved in my work to the extent that, like, I have the appropriate space for living quarters, but, like, I have a hammock.
Yeah, like, you've got, like, an
That's so
apartment that's, like, alright upstairs, but just between two, like, a bandsaw and a welder, you've just got a hammock strung up.
Yeah.
Which is probably a massive fire hazard, but yeah, okay.
That's it, and a cooler box. That's it.
Yeah, so you, like, you go down one floor and you emerge on, like, the big machining floor, and you return to your room. Yeah, like, Barker and Gemma have moved all those plants and stuff in here, like, because it's constantly, like, warm in this place. But yeah, you're, like, briefly aware of, like, wait, plants need, like, water. And yeah, all the tech, including that big fancy engine, is in here from the vault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, at this point, I can't get my mind off anything but Wintermute and this new engine that I have.
Yeah.
So, can I use my oh shit, what's the ability called?
You have your workspace move, which you could, like, get to the bottom of this plant machinery.
Yeah, that'll be the most effective thing.
Or you can, like, try and Psychic Maelstrom augury something out of this Wintermute.
No, I'm not going to auger it. I'm actually going to just try and physically get to the mechanical workings of this and see if I can work anything out from it.
Oh, damn, I haven't put in your actual move because I'm a bad. Okay, let me have a look here. So, that's Brainer, Stromy, Savvy Head. Yeah, so maybe you get to, like, this engine piece first, because this thing is, like, the rest of it's, like, relatively understandable tech. It's, like, kind of sprinklers that have been jury-rigged to, like, do, like, timed bursts and stuff like that. But the engine is the thing that's remarkable, because it seems to be just converting, like, air into water in a sealed environment, which you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And also, yeah, just ran for however fucking long it was between that vault getting locked and yeah. Okay, so the workspace move. So when you go into your workspace and dedicate yourself to making a thing or to getting to the bottom of some shit, decide what and tell the MC. So you're choosing how the fuck, what is this engine? How does it work? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I want to examine it if I can sort of get inside it without damaging it.
Yeah.
I want to just know everything I can about the actual workings of this.
Okay. Yeah. So I will tell you, sure, no problem, but, and then 1 to 4 the following. So it could take hours, days, weeks, months. First, you have to build, fix, or figure out something. You're going to need someone to help you with it. It's going to cost you a fuck ton of jingle. The best you'll be able to do is a crap version, weak and unreliable. It's going to be exposing yourself or colleagues to danger. You're going to have to add something to your workspace first. It's going to take several dozens, hundreds of tries. You're going to have to take blank apart to do it. Okay. Yeah, I think you kind of start looking at it and you realize that like this work is, you're too drunk to do this right now, and like this would probably be days of like, maybe you just find a small port that like you tap it and like there's a soft like, this thing of like machinery has got to the point of where you can build fancy stuff, but none of it's like got the kind of the polish that modern day machinery has. Like there's no iPhones in this day.
The aesthetic.
Yeah. Like, you make functional stuff, and it can do the things that people, other like the olden times could do, but you can't make it, like, you can't, like, do the factory finish and stuff like that. But you just tap this little part, and it, like, this little panel just kind of sinks in, and with a soft swish, just, like, reveals a small, like, circuit thing, and, like, a power readout and stuff like that, and you're like, okay. You realize this stuff is, like, golden age technology. This is pre-apocalypse. Like, possibly even experimental then. Kind of tech, and yeah, it's going to take you probably a good few days working on this thing to work out much about it. What have you got in you? You've got Junkyard, Robotails, where's that? So you're probably going to also need to like buy some fancy, like get some fancier tools in here. So maybe some like proper machining tools, stuff like that. Just to kind of like help you crack this thing open. You need something a bit more heavy duty,
Right.
or yeah, to like get into this thing, because it's not built to be taken apart. It's built to get put, as far as you can tell, it's built to get put together and then just stay there. And then yeah, it's going to take, once you've got that, it's going to be a couple days work to like take this thing apart and work out what makes it tick. But yeah, I mean, you've got a few interface cables, so those are enough, like, you're just about sober enough that you spend a little time sitting there kind of looking at them and you go, you could plug this thing into something and you could build basically an adapter to plug it into something else. But it's, yeah, like, yeah?
Do I have any tech in my workspace that would allow me to measure the kind of power that's coming out of this generator?
Probably. You have, like, kind of yeah. So you just, like, you can plug something in.
Okay, so could I get an adapter to basically see exactly how powerful?
So I think you pull out like a meter to measure like electrical power of a battery or something, and you rig together a rapid adapter in like the space of like 30, 45 minutes, just something kind of jury rigged, and you plug it in, and like the brightness like goes up to like maximum. The needle goes all the way, like flips from 0 to like juddering on the edge of like the red zone, and then it like, the screen just pops, and the machine and the measurer dies, and you're like, okay, so
danger zone.
Yeah. I think that's probably all you can really accomplish with it tonight. But you know that this thing it's got some serious juice.
So yeah, I very carefully put it back where it was.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of touching the sides to see if I can get this panel to close again.
Yeah, I think you find like if you just like pull on like one of the edges, it just like swishes back. Yeah, it's a very sleek piece of machinery. Cool. So let's go to Lux.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you live? And what's it like?
I live basically in the garage with all my 2 other cars. I also have basically like a broken down bus,
Right.
like an old school bus thing that's just like it's been kind of hacked out the benches, and I've just set up shop in there basically.
Okay,
I have
yeah, I think maybe Stein's come along to make it like so it's actually warm inside.
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and like rig together some like insulation and stuff like that in there. But yeah, okay, you sleep in
Basically.
like a school bus in the parking
Yeah, I was
lot
literally
of,
sleeping in like a bright
yeah,
yellow school bus.
of the
in the
McRae
parking lot.
of the McRae Porter Company.
Yeah.
Or Courier Company. Okay. How about Tudor? I'm very curious about Tudor. Like, do you live like because all of your court are like big fancy bigwigs, like a lot of whom live on the second floor. Do you? Where does Tudor stay? Like, what is?
Um,
I'm kind of interested. Like, is it like that you just kind of rotate around the like places of your bigwigs, or do you have like your own little house, or does Tudor just walk into the snowstorm every night and like come back mysteriously in the morning, seeming fine? Like, do you have something a little more isolated?
I have like a small apartment near this pub,
Okay.
but mostly I just kind of go on an effect of a grand tour and stay with various different court members and bless them with my presence.
Okay, yeah. I think tonight then you go back with Greg, who he has like one of the nicer places on the third floor. Like he's got a lot of respect, so people built his, from the people around him, so that he's got like a nicer building. Yeah, you set up shop there, and yeah, you kind of make sure that you're comfortable, that you've got everything you need. I think his husband comes out, like wakes up as you arrive, and is like, what the and then sees you and goes, oh, good to see you again. I think it's the first syllable of Tudor out, and he goes, Your Majesty. And you see like the hesitation in him, and he goes, can I get you anything to drink? Or are you good? And you hear the hope in, oh, you just go to bed. I just want to sleep.
Don't worry, don't worry, I'm good. We've got a meeting in the morning with what's his fucking name? again?
Parcher. It's like, fabulous, I will fix breakfast in, just a couple hours. See you in a bit, Greg. He like rolls over. Yeah, Greg like shows you to a room. It's nice. It's nothing too fancy. Like, as I say, Greg is salt of the earth. Like, he lives amongst his people. He's probably one of the more like down to earth and rational guys in your court, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you set up there. Right then. So that's you three. So we cut back to midnight as she lets herself back into. Oh, here's my question then. You're Cecil's kept woman, at least in the public eye. Your actual relationship is something we may explore at a later date. What is your like? I presume you stay at his, but what is your like sleeping arrangements? Do you have like your own room, and you are occasionally summoned at the whim of Cecil? Do you like sleep together?
At the whim of Cecil, it's more the other way around.
I mean,
Cecil
he's.
is called at the whim of me.
I mean, he's the one with the money, and like, I don't know how your arrangement works. There's definitely a back and forth of power struggle, but
Even though he's the one with the money and
the private armies.
yeah, not necessarily the power,
Okay.
but it's definitely we have separate sleeping arrangements as of my choice.
Okay.
Purely because
I think every time you pull off one of these, you have to convince him that it's his idea, because Cecil is a proud man.
Exactly.
And I mean, maybe you do it in a sort of like you couldn't afford me every night kind of jokish way, or it's like, yeah, I don't know exactly how you do it, but I don't know. He might even have a second woman who you have put in there as if it was like, oh, it's totally that we all sleep separately because you have two people. But you have to like put yourself in a position each time to convince him, because I don't think he's gonna ever give an inch.
There
he
is
doesn't have to.
within our
Arrangement.
establishment actually.
Okay.
There is a certain place where one could go to hire a woman
Uh-huh.
for the night,
Mhm.
or for various nights, and obviously considering his power, his placement, he's very much in control of that establishment.
Yeah, I mean he's in control of everything. He literally has the
Exactly.
light switches.
But that establishment was not considered until
Reputable?
Midnight decided that it should go through as a kind of as a thing,
It's
really.
an official business, and like,
As-
yeah,
Exactly. As
it got its own guild head.
Exactly.
Who, is her
because
name Midnight?
when we were in very much the early stages of our arrangement, it was very much a kind of, he didn't want to come across as being, even though he had all of this money and this power, he didn't
Yeah.
want he didn't want to seem rude,
Right.
because obviously he had the most desirable
Yeah,
woman.
he's got the celebrity, and it's like you're
Exactly.
seeing each other, but you're not exclusive. It's all
Exactly.
that, yeah, wishy-washy.
No,
Okay.
he had the most desirable woman, but at the same time, he didn't want to be limited. But he didn't want to come across as rude to his new partner. So, Midnight gave him that kind of push.
Okay.
So Midnight very much was the kind of, we can have separate sleeping arrangements.
But I'm the woman.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Right then. So you return to your room. I think maybe the butler is still, is sitting. It's like he's kind of a creepy guy. Sorry,
Squire.
Squire. Cool. Yeah, he's like sitting in this pose, and he's a little bit odd, possibly a lesser but similar way to the way Stein and Tudor are. You're never quite sure when he's listening and watching and when he's not. And this is another of those times where he's there and it's is he asleep? And then as you get to pass him, his eyes snap open and he goes, I'm at a Midnight. Pleasure to see you. He stands up. Will you be requiring anything before you retire? Immediately assumes I am the posh British butler. As if he if he was asleep, this is the most amazingly instantaneous wake up. And I think you maybe had this before, if he's just, he's mechanical. Yes, Squire goes, is there anything you require before you retire for the evening?
Obviously, I will require my nightcap.
He nods, of course.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Apart from that, you are dismissed for the night. You can go back to your quarters and do whatever it is you do when I don't require you.
Nods. Absolutely. Understood. Yeah, he flicks off, and I think by the time you get up to you're up to your room, you've just maybe hung up your big matrix coat, maybe the first lace of your ridiculous corset thing is coming, and then he's there. You just about hear the door open, and by the time you turn around, he's put a glass down, the glass is down the side, and you just see him walking out and the door closing behind him. He's very professional, but yeah, slightly creepy. Yeah, so you eventually go to bed. You have this nice kind of, from your position, you have this shining overview of Cecil Road. From your well-lit apartment, you look over, got down in, where you can't even hear the hum of the generators, you're warm, and the rest of them are you've got Tudor, in the spare room, which is built out of, 2 different bed stands and stuff like that, huddled under, 3 big rough blankets. You've got, Lux lying in his his bus. Possibly even a race car bed.
No, that is a line. I don't have a race car bed.
No. But yeah, there's maybe there's something it's there's the elements of is again it's not the fanciest thing in the world. There's insulated windows of a school bus. You've got Tudor swinging on his hammock just near the generators, throbbing in the back of the workshop, keeping the place warm. He's lulled to sleep by this incessant thump. And you're there in this perfect silence, in this 4-poster bed, in this relatively nice room, just kind of staring out over you and Cecil's domain. Yeah. Okay. I have a question, dear, as you roll over to sleep. What is Midnight most afraid of?
That's a very good question. Midnight is definitely most afraid of going up to any particular male person and not being able to tell them exactly what she wants them to do and have them oblige.
So she's terrified of not being wanted.
She is terrified of being completely powerless.
Okay. Yeah, because I guess you're acutely aware of your skill set, while it holds a great deal of power in this situation. In the apocalypse, you're not actually useful.
No.
You can't fix the machines. You can't scout places. You can't like.
The only thing I am good for is
Yeah.
being able to.
Yeah, you
It's
can.
basically my own personal gain.
Yeah, you can convince people that they need you, but
I can't
they can realize in the end that they don't.
Exactly. I can't contribute to the overall
Okay.
society in terms of I can't, like you say, I can't fix anything. I can't really do anything. The only thing that Midnight is truly afraid of is being found out and being completely cast aside and her being completely powerless
Okay.
to her entire people. And then she's standing outside in the middle of the night thinking, where am I going to go? Like, I
Yeah.
can't do anything.
It's
No one's gonna
it's
take
almost like you have those visions of like the thing that terrifies you the most is that one day you'll wake up from this dream where you are Midnight, celebrity of Cecil Road, and you'll have to go back to a life of like working the food processing plant as just some
Exactly.
average everyday scrub who lives on the 3rd floor.
And no one knows what her name is. No one knows who she is. She has no power over anything. She's just another
Well, she-
person.
yeah.
existing.
Okay, yeah. So I think that's almost exactly what you dream of. Is you dream of being thrown out of Cecil's, like the fancy finery and things you've accumulated over your time being taken away from you, and yeah, you just get bundled into rags and like you get thrown into the elevator shaft and fall down and like land on like maybe it's on Parcher's floor and like you're just lying there stunned and like just get shoved up, like dragged up and like into like the work line of people moving, and like the nightmare is just you being nothing for the night.
Just blending into the crowd.
Yeah.
Not to walk into a room and everyone turn around and be like,
Yeah, and
oh
like no
my
one
God,
notices.
she's actually in here.
The only time that anyone notices that you aren't anyone notices you in the nightmare is when they like you don't work fast enough or hard enough, and some overseer like clips you on the ear and tells you to speed up and stuff like that. And then yeah, just as like you retire to your horrific little shack, like corrugated iron shack, and like I think the thing that really gets to Midnight is it's like while you are aware of it's like kind of on one level you're aware it's a nightmare and like you feel revulsion at this place. It's that the Midnight in the dream accepts this as her lot in life. And then just as you get to the door and you push to open it, you just hear a giggle, like a high-pitched girlish giggle, and you turn to look at the side of the building and you see black hair, like long black hair, whip past the wall. And then you wake up in a cold sweat. As like morning, like the morning kind of alarm goes off across the upper floor. And yeah, you I think at this point you look down at your arm, and like one of your tattoos that kind of ends like here. I don't know, it's like maybe of a flower or something, of like a rose maybe. It's like all of the petals have turned black, and it's just sitting there like ugly and blemished on your arm, not of anything that you would normally, and you notice it very clearly as being in some way alien. And yes, right, that's that we are in the next day. So I think today, is there any like before we go see Parcher down on the 3rd floor, I think it is. Does Tudor take anyone with him?
Is anyone in? I don't know if I'm.
Yeah, I think you wake up eventually. Like you're okay. Greg like staggers to your like you hear this big heavy like dumph, sigh, dumph, sigh. Like you can hear Greg like breathing outside, and like you open the door and Greg's like, Craig's making breakfast. Why did we drink till 5 in the morning, Your Majesty? I can't. And he just turns and walks downstairs. And yeah, his husband's down there like busy frying like some bacon or something. Like or not, probably not bacon. You guys don't have proper animals. But he's got a little bit of like seasoning that's like a little rare, and he's making you like as fancy a breakfast as can be found on this floor. Like, I think you get that impression as well. Every time you stay on this floor, whoever you're with always pulls out all the stops to eat with you. Like they'll dip into their little like their little bit of spices or their like one bit of ration, like this is the special occasion food, the real food, as opposed to the kind of tasty wheat from the dispenser. Yeah, and he's like, kind of, I think he pulls out some of the seasoning, and you get a bowl of what is essentially like morning porridge rations, but he's sprinkled like, I don't know, some cinnamon or a bit of honey or something over the top of it, and that shit's like, there's one floor that can make this kind of stuff, and it's small because digging any deeper is too dangerous, and like very, very precious. And the majority of it is controlled, but it goes to Cecil's house. And yeah, they pull it out for you. I think you're very aware of that, but I think any attempts you've made to like go, you really shouldn't use them, has been overruled.
Okay, so I just, as I ate my porridge, I graciously thank them.
Greg goes, not at all, not at all. Although it seems you've ruined my partner here. And yeah, Gracious like, oh, shut up, man. Can't deal. And he's like, slowly spooning like porridge in his mouth and just goes, Greg is gripped in the fever of a terrible hangover. I think both the rest of you have like, except for Midnight, who's woken up in this cold sweat with this fear gripping her. The other two of you have woken up in like a similar state of, okay, maybe a little too much last night. Yeah. So what do you do? Like, you have breakfast, and then what do you do before you go to meet Parcher?
Is there... Do I have anyone in my court that would be, like, relevant to bring? Like, is there anyone that's, like, involved in, like, food distribution?
I think maybe Parcher would be the guy who should be on your court, and he's kept it from you. So, like, everyone else is kind of a leader of a certain, like, you've got the Outriders, you've got the guys who, like, work, like, big machines, who work maintenance on the big engines that heat the place, and, like, guys who basically are chimney sweeps, which is horrifically dangerous to keep the airflow moving through this city. Because, cool. I mean, if those go down, if more than, like, half of those go down, this city becomes a death trap of just underground and no air. You've got, like, every kind of, like, a few merchants and stuff in your pocket, stuff like that. But, yeah, this floor has essentially been kept from you.
Okay, so I go... En route to going to meet him, I go collect East Harrow.
Okay. I mean, do you bring any of the PCs with you? Like, Midnight is the champion manipulator of men. And women, it seems, in Lux's case. Or do you want, like, Stein, so that you've got, like, you ask for, like, yo, you owe me. Repay me by explaining to me how all his machinery works so I can have an idea of him. These are options that I don't really know.
I will, once I've got him, I will, obviously, to make sure I don't annoy Cecil by not keeping his eyes and ears on, I go via see Midnight and make it very clear.
Yeah.
As in, like, make a big fuss when I go in, make it apparent that I am actually doing something.
Okay, so you head up to that floor. Yeah, I think a scene I'd like to see is breakfast in the Cecil house, in Manor Cecil, as you, like, come downstairs having recomposed yourself, put on your face for the day. Is there any noticeable, like, crack in Midnight's demeanor? Or is she just gone, like, whatever, that was a fucking weird dream? Her? Midnight.
Hmm?
Is there any crack in Midnight's demeanor as she heads downstairs to meet Cecil for breakfast? Or is she just like, nope, weird dream, whatever, fuck it?
Midnight is very much the kind of person who can wake up from a dream and, you know, whatever has happened the night before.
Not real. Got a mission.
She can wake up, look at herself in the mirror, and just be like, you know what? Fuck everything else. I am incredible.
I'm the best. Cool.
And I am going to live every day as if everybody is beneath me.
Fabulous.
And walks out.
Cool. Yeah. So you get downstairs and, like, I think you as you approach downstairs, you find, Squire is opening the door to the dining room. It's like, breakfast has been served, madam. And you go in there to find, Cecil is eating. Sheriff is there too. And Cecil goes, Midnight. Oh, jeez. Okay. It's good to see you. How has your evening spent down below? He looks very cheerful as ever. He's eating proper food.
Well, I had a lot to drink. Feeling it a little bit this morning. I've got, pretty bad headache, but
Well,
it's nothing that a general day can't solve.
yeah, it's like, well, and he like passes over like a small
Passing it all off to alcohol.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. It was just all alcohol.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. There's no weird psychic miasma ooze in your brain. Nothing at all like that. No. Yeah. So, yeah, I think he sits you down and goes, "Did Rourke cause any issues at all? Or was he well behaved all evening?"
He was relatively well behaved. I mean, there were a few moments, but nothing that I couldn't handle.
Of course. Yes, well, I don't keep Rourke around for his pleasant demeanour.
Exactly.
Ah, dear. I believe that Tudor today shall be taking you to see Parcher, at least if he has any sense. I need that man, Midnight. He's the only person left in this town that Tudor doesn't have his sneaky little claws in. Deliver him for me. Understood?
Understood.
Fantastic. Sheriff, do tell us how things go around the hold. We had any mysterious... And kind of it settles into sort of business talk in the morning, stuff like that. Yeah. So I think, yeah, the time passes, everyone kind of does their morning routine. It's all very calm and straightforward. And yeah, you eventually get... You eventually, suit up, and Tudor arrives, as Cecil predicted, to go see Parcher. And he invites you, I presume that the show is made. I think you guys are heading off together. And Cecil makes it all as if, oh, of course, if you must take her away from me, I'll miss you, dear heart. Come back soon. It's very over the top and flowery with his language, but yeah, you head off. And as you're leaving the kind of compound, you find two members of your court, who I'm gonna call Margaret and
Tangent.
Tangent. Margaret and Tangent.
Someone's been reading the chat.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so yeah, these are two kind of wealthy merchants and stuff. Maybe they trade amongst the holds and run kind of their main business out of this place. They're both members of your court. I think that they're married. So Tangent is yeah, he's this kind of similar in build almost to you, Tudor. He's kind of average height. He's quite skinny. Wears these big thick glasses. He kind of speaks with stammer. He's you've seen his accounting. He's the accountant for the company essentially, and yeah, you've maybe looked at their books twice, and his capacity to move money around and you maybe followed it for 20 seconds before you're I'm 90% sure what you're doing is breaking every law that Cecil has here, but cool. But I couldn't tell you how. He just seems too rich, but he manages to not pay half the tax, the tariffs that Cecil sets in the place, and yeah, their house is probably the second nicest in this place. Margaret is the cutthroat businesswoman. She stands at a half a head taller than him. She's blazing redhead, and yeah, she's kind of got a permanent sneer on her face. And yeah, they greet you and say, "We hear you're going to talk to Parcher."
Yes.
If you would care to bring us along, we'd be delighted to talk to him. Well, that little man needs a reminder of who's really in charge around here. Yeah. Tangent kind of lowers his glasses and goes, "We believe we have some small amount of leverage, sir." Let me put his glass back up.
I say, very good. You can accompany us then.
Cool.
and then
Yeah.
inquire into what it is exactly they have.
Yeah. So I think it's Tangent kind of reveals that he's through a few of his like dealings with like basically has like people across his network of like the two of them reveal like is that, like across the people who trade amongst the floors and stuff, they found out that Parcher is secretly like stashing shipments of like food that like that floor is tightly controlled, and everything's supposed to go basically via Cecil's stuff and then is distributed out to everyone. Cecil very much puts himself as I am the man who keeps you all alive. And yeah, he's been sneaking some of it off and shipping it off to surrounding towns for like ridiculously extortionate prices because they can't keep up with the amount of food production they need. So their basically thought is blackmail him.
Very good. That is some incredibly useful information.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can use it.
Yeah, they tell you that they managed to flip a guy in his establishment who I'm going to call Right. His name is
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah. Fuck it. Yeah. Maybe Jeremiah.
Contribution.
Yep. Thank you. Yes, this Jeremiah guy who works for Parcher. Yeah, told them all about this. Yeah. You head down to his floor, like down right into the bowels of Cecil Road, where the air is like it just breathing feels like the air is recycled over and over again. Like you can't taste the snow outside. It's not really cold down here at all. That's not becoming an issue. Just the worry is that if any of the machinery breaks, everyone dies before they can make it to the elevators. It's kind of got the atmosphere of like a coal mine. This place is like quite brightly lit though, like down here. Like you've got massive vats of like bubbling, essentially like harvested and generated like food source. It's essentially like Soylent almost, of like it's just what the body needs put together in like big vats of just nutrients and like yeah. I think you find like Parcher sitting in his little office that overlooks this like warehouse floor almost, this massive warehouse floor. Just like with this bowl of basically like the unrefined stuff before any flavouring or anything is put into it. Or like and just like spooning it and like slurping horrifically loudly. Like you see some of it caught in like the straggly bits of his beard and turns to you, oh! Tudor! So glad you can make it! Ugh. Welcome to my humble floor. And he reaches out to shake your hand. And like, yeah, I think he's still got like a bit of drool like hanging off of one lip. And he like, yeah, he reaches out to you like.
I go to shake his hand, looking somewhat perturbed.
Yeah, I think he's. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you shake his hand and he kind of turns around and like, come, step into my office, spit loud out here. In his office and closes the door and it's like the thrum of machinery dies down a bit. The place that I keep thinking of for this, the atmosphere of this place, if not so much the size of it, is in Age of Ultron, the ship, like his little office that you get in there. It's the place I keep thinking of for some reason. Yeah, he kind of sits down in this like swivel chair and goes, so, I've been made other offers, Tudor. Apparently I'm very desirable these days. I was wondering what you had that would make me consider your side a little more. Because I understand that tensions are rising a bit between you and Cecil. Guys.
Yes, you could say that the heat is beginning to turn up.
I was like, we keep all the heat in here. Upstairs, you know. You guys have the benefits of just wander outside. Soon cool right down.
Yes, I understand that you're in a position of vital influence due to
We see
you
eye to
retaining
eye.
control of a somewhat important sector of keeping us alive.
Give us this day our daily bread. You know they used to say that back in the Golden Age? Apparently some kind of like big thing. But it holds. Very good point.
Very much. It
I'll
does
make
hold
the daily
true.
bread, Judah. And it seems you want me to make it for you.
Well, that would be ideal. Cannot say that is not what I desire.
Leans forward. and goes,
What other offers have you received?
well, you know, people just ask me to make sure that when you turn up, I keep them appraised of your wheelings and dealings. And also, you know, sizable amounts of odds and ends. Gives you the
I take
toothiest
a-
grin.
Wild guess and say that would be a certain someone on the top floor. Lives in a big house.
I couldn't possibly say. I'm a very private man, Shooter. I keep honor on me mum. I keep my mouth stum.
Well, I'm also a man that likes to keep his mouth shut with regards to more delicate matters of the more shady nature.
Okay. Okay. What are you saying? You see, like, maybe the slightest dent in his good cheer.
Is come to my attention, which, I mean, under the current circumstances, some would regard as against the rules, which, I mean, in the current state of affairs, that is true, but as you well know, the current state of affairs is not entirely desirable, and I've always been a man who always seeks to create profits and to explore opportunities and not make certain opportunities harder to pursue.
Yeah, I think he's beginning to get that what you're driving at. He goes, and how would you make my opportunities harder to pursue, Mr. Tudor?
Well, as you have likely in a similar situation, a certain someone has always got his eyes and ears on all places, and certain information could quite easily find its way to these eyes and ears. It's not something I would like to do,
Yeah.
but
I think at this point he like glares at Midnight. It's like as the representative of Sess on the room and goes, "You come down to my floor and you threaten me, Tudor. People don't threaten Parcher. Fine, it goes bad for them.
threaten.
No one else but me knows what makes our daily bread.
I'm not threatening you, I'm simply pointing out that supporting certain changes would allow you to maximize certain profits.
Caroline's
I mean, I don't want to. All I'm saying is there are certain ways that things could be improved.
yeah.
Can I intersect here and also say that Midnight poses absolutely no threat whatsoever? She is the epitome.
She's just smiling sweetly and innocently, like, I don't understand all these big people terms.
Exactly. What could Midnight possibly do
Yeah.
to threaten yourself?
Okay. Yeah, so I think go ahead and try and like basically so you want to manipulate him into taking a seat on your court and listening to you.
So I roll manipulate,
Yeah, roll manipulate.
which is now my weird stat.
It is indeed. We will do it though that by replacing moves, you gain XP from the original place it came from, because otherwise there are ways to cheat the system, as we have discovered in another game I play, where you replace every single stat with hard or weird, and then just go lol.
What?
I just get
Am I not allowed to do that?
so you don't get XP, but you do roll with you go from -1 to +3.
So it's still okay. So for XP, it counts as a hot roll.
Yeah.
Okay,
Give me that roll.
10.
10. Nice. Okay, yeah. So he leans forward and, like, the promise he wants in exchange for doing what you say is, so, tell me who the rat is in my little establishment. And I'll join your little fripperies. I have an infestation in my house, Tudor. I want to root it out. It is up to you to decide whether you honour this agreement, by the way.
So is this at a later point?
I mean, you can tell him now. You can like, because if you get a 7 to 9, he has to give you a concrete assurance of your of the promise.
Yeah.
So you would have to tell him there and then. But at this point, you could say, "I'll tell you later," or "I will."
So like this. I don't know the source at the moment, but I'm sure we can work something out.
Okay.
As I clasp his hand to shake his hand.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, he gives you kind of a glare, and then like flips his head at like Oh god, what was that guy's name?
Tangent.
No, the other one. There was the guy who came to find you last night, and I've forgotten to write his name down.
East Arrow?
No, it was Archer's lieutenant. Yeah. The guy who came to find you in the bar last night, who told you that Pouch wanted to meet you, kind of shows you to the door and like, yeah.
Oh, right.
You tell
yeah,
Pouch is furious. Yeah. So at this point, I think we cut up to Lux, who's like munching some kind of like old stale roll, like in the like feet up in the like behind the desk of the McRae Courier Company. And yeah, you see like down the service lift comes these bunch of like proper snowmobiles that all look quite sleek, like things that would pique your like, ooh, fancy car.
Yeah.
And yeah, 3 like figures all dressed up in winter parks and stuff like that, like the big shutters closing above the service elevator to keep the cold out.
Yeah. I'll approach them and just kind of. He's definitely still got my pistol. I don't recognize these guys, do I?
No, these are new vehicles to you. So they're either someone has scavenged something new in one of the other holds, or these guys. Yeah, at this time of day, it must be a visitor from another hold.
Yeah. Stroll up. We go. Can I help you, fellas?
I think this is like kind of you see the lift coming down, and like you spot it because like, you got quite eagle eyes, and you like wander over.
Yeah, cool.
And like these 3 men have these 3 figures have dismounted.
Yeah.
And yeah. I think as you get there, you spot on the side of one of these snowmobiles. There's just in like very specific, like no nonsense, like press text on the side of each of them. You get Wintermute Institution on the like the side of each one. Yeah. Like they're all wearing like kind of almost uniform, and one of them takes off his like goggles and mask and breathing too for like being outside and like riding around exposed vehicles. And like looks towards kind of the customs guy almost. The guy who's like basically making sure, yo, strangers, what the hell. He goes, and he pulls off this mask, and you see it's this this guy who's like 6 and a bit feet tall, blonde hair, looks kind of like a Viking almost. And he looks towards one of them, a very clipped tones, goes, We are here to see the leader of your little enclave. We are here on behalf of the Wintermute Institution. He kind of hands over like a letter, and I say, "This is from our employer, Dr. Tessia." And yeah, I think maybe this is where like Stein comes up to like grab a cup of morning coffee with you because you guys are friends, and then like shows up next to you like to see what the fuss is about. And yeah, Stein, at this point you just see on the side of this skidoo in the same kind of like font, this time painted rather than printed into metal. Yeah, Wintermute Institute on the side of these skidoos. It's like, yeah. And that is, well, because I think I have 2 people kind of nodding off here, we're going to end for this evening. Cool! Next time's going to be really fun. Things are building. I like it. So, first, before we get into anything else, we're going to go around and everyone has to tell me, as close of business, who they know, who knows them better or worse as a result of the events of the show so far from the rest of the PCs, so we can just take checks. So we will start with our dear friend Stein. Who knows Stein better or worse as a result of these events?
I think that Tudor knows Stein better.
Okay. Why does Tudor know Stein better then?
I think it's because we've actually taken the time to actually find some common ground.
Yeah.
We've agreed to basically start a project together to discover what Wintermute actually is and share information. I think there's a little bit of trust there, although it's very sketchy because we don't have that, much of a previous relationship. But it's definitely a starting point for us.
Okay. So yeah, Tudor mark +1 HX with Stein.
Done.
Okay, so next on my little round table, Tudor. Who knows you better?
Well, likewise, just same as Stein. Kind of bonded over the mystical with our chat
Yeah.
while they were all
The understanding of
escorting him
of what lies beyond this realm. Okay. So yeah, Stein mark +1 HX with Tudor. Is that your first positive one? Oh no, you have +2 with Midnight, is it? Or +1 with Midnight because you think she's a potential problem?
Oh,
No, I'm a
shit.
potential problem.
I didn't actually add that. Yeah, so it's +1 with Midnight. I thought it was 0. +1 with Midnight and 0 with Tudor now because I was at -1.
Okay. Cool. Lux. Who knows Lux better or worse?
I reckon probably Tudor knows Lux better because he knows that Lux is willing to take to arms to defend the court very
Yeah.
quickly.
Okay, that puts me on +4.
Okay, so tick that round and get another XP.
So that means go to +1 and get next.
Yeah, so tick it.
I might not take everyone's talents next time,
Oh
guys.
my god, what is this? Yeah, if you've gone past 5 experience, just write a note in the chat of the Roll20 page to say how much experience you're on.
Implying. I rolled 1 dice out of dice this session.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus. God, I need to give Lux more screen time, my bad. Okay, yeah, just to make sure we've got a record of it in case they all reset and be annoying. And finally, Midnight. Who knows you better as a result of the events this evening?
I feel like Lux knows me a little bit better, purely because she now knows that I am more than happy to manipulate people and run off and do whatever the fuck I want, despite her saying, no, you know what, I'm gonna come with you. And I'm gonna be like, no, fuck you, and just run off
Yeah.
and do my own thing.
That's fair.
Cool.
Seems fair.
Alrighty, Roo then. Does anyone have 5 XP and don't have an advancement? Just out of interest. So 5 checked boxes as a result of your rolls over the course of the day. I think Chip, Midnight should have 5 XP.
Yes, I do.
Cool. So you, just let me check your sheet quickly because they're a bit weird the way they've laid it out. But you can pick an advancement from any of the ones above. Get +1 to any stat.
Whoa.
So +1 to any stat of max stat +3.
Give my stats.
Yeah, so this is below all the stats and like below experience is the improvement section. I won't make you do it now because you might want to have a look through other playbooks and stuff. But if you want to look through the rules, classes that may have moves that might interest you are things like the Battle Babe and the Operator. Both have kind of moves that run off like manipulating and being aware of the situation. So those might be kind of things you want to have a look at. But yeah, and also the other kinds of stuff is you could get your own cult. That'd be a bit weird. Or you could get gigs, which is
Can I
essentially...
get a cult of Skinners, please?
Like, I don't know. It could be a subcult. A subcult. Like a portion of
Midnight
the court.
runs the prostitutes of
Yeah,
Cecil
buddy.
Road. I mean, that's up to you, but yeah, have a look through, see what you think. Let me pick right now. Okay, so I'm going to, as fast as I can, whip up a set of polls for highlighting stats for next time. And then we shall... everyone do shout outs while and like final closing words while I do this, because it's going to take me a little bit of thinking.
Don't
Alright.
strain yourself too much from that.
So, it's been a fun session, even though I haven't done very much. But I've still had a lot of fun being here anyway. And I love you, chat. You're awesome. Yeah, no, we'll see you next time, which will probably be sometime next week, possibly, because this group is easy to schedule and it's lovely.
It's
We'll
amazing.
let you know via Twitter and possibly YouTube if I can be asked to make another crappy video again.
Yeah, I mean,
Joe, take it away. Oh.
Oh, it's been to repeat the platitudes, we always give you great people in chat, so you really do make it. It's fun being in front of you and being with you. It's been fun trying to provide subtle threats without being subtle. It's always fun trying to do that kind of language, so hope you guys enjoyed it as well. On to Chip.
Chippy dear.
Okay, this is the second session and I've absolutely loved it. I hope you guys watching have loved it as much as we have, because, you know, we're all friends and we just absolutely love it. And, you know, it's just been a really, really cool experience, you know, really, really excited to carry it on. So, as the top says, girl power, let's keep going. On to Jamie.
Solid. Right, yeah. Big thanks to everyone working with Joe, Finbar, Jonathan, Chip. It's been fun as always. Chat, you guys are fucking brilliant. You make my night reading your little your
People
banter
wanting to
scrolls.
lick your eyebrows or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, it's cool. I've unionized the chat. They're all working for me now. They're going to protect me from this genie dude.
Okay. Okay.
So if I could leave you with anything, it's, you know, be true, always be yourself. Unless you can be super skitty Seal Kitty 5000, always be super skitty Seal Kitty 5000.
Fantastic.
I will get the hang of that for next time.
Fabulous. Right, 1 second. Ask me questions and highlight shit. Okay, so thank you all for coming down. I've had a great time. I love running this game. I find it really fun. Next time we're going to get into some really, I think, interesting moments now that Wintermute have turned up in town.
Can I just say, can we have a massive hurrah for Finbar? Because if it wasn't for Finbar, this wouldn't be happening, so yay!
Oh, wait.
Yeah,
He's so
yeah,
cute! I've seen sometimes chat has been being very nice to me, and other times they've been being awful to me. Usually at the prodding of Johnny, so, you know, fuck you. But yeah, so this game
Can't be
is
too nice
really
to
good fun. I hope all of you are having a good time as I am. There will be a post-show, probably not tomorrow, it's probably Friday, where I will be going through some fronts. I've been making some changes to the ones that already exist, and I've, in fact, added a couple fancy new graphs and things, so I can, in pictures, represent all of your relationships to each other. You guys are allowed to go
Look
back
how
and...
nice chat's being to you right now. Look how nice the chat's
Yeah.
being to you right now. They are so lovely.
They are.
Love you, Finbar. They love you.
Good. Right, yes, if you're enjoying what we're doing, and you're having a good time, and you want to see more, hit that follow button if you're new. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want to see the old recordings. These will be going up there as soon as I'm done here. And yes, most importantly, the Reddit link is in the description. In the chat. It's in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. For all 4 parts, go there. Highlight stats to people because, yeah, we want to see what happens. And you guys get to shape how they play to some description, because I imagine that there would have been less going aggro this session if it didn't earn people XP.
Yeah, like, 100%. Like I will pay much regards to whatever chat highlights as opposed to other people to highlights.
Yeah.
'cause
Well, also because, you know, you're a power
It's
gaming
funny.
whore.
Also, I want my goddamn XP.
It's glorious. Right. We're going to wrap the show up. Hope to see you all again next time. Have a lovely evening. And if you're up for the next few hours and you like this kind of content, go to ItMeJP's channel and watch Swan Song. It's going
That's
to be
nice.
fucking awesome. Yes. Aftermath of the duel.
God damn it! I can't watch it.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Jenny.
This is us signing out. Have a great evening.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.